Okay, Emily, I've got your presentation up, and let's start with the front cover. Now, one thing I noticed is you have design developments on the front cover. Design development was phase three. This is phase four, final presentation. And as I go through your presentation, I'm seeing that we're not anywhere near final presentation here. I think that at this point, I'm very concerned at the progress of the project because I think that you're very, very, very far behind. Let me describe and explain what I mean. So in the cover, you've introduced Stockholm, Sweden as your host city. That's great, but you jump straight to color palette, and then so in other words, you're jumping straight to concept design. That was phase two, but I don't see anything here from phase one. Remember, phase one, we did all that research. That's part of the story, and that's part of the assignment. A big part of the assignment is storytelling. Remember, we spent all those weeks talking about development of story and the parts of a story and your favorite story, and that's what this is about. The reason we talked about that is so that you can develop your ideas on how to tell this story. So right now, I think the story is very much incomplete because we don't have the background information, the research information, research and data gathering stages. Let me show you an example over here from Santiago. So this contents page, and then it starts in with historical summary location. This is all part of that phase one. This is starting the story, describing why this is a good location. Keeps going on and on. This is all still phase one. Geographic data, climate, cultural highlights, and then it gets into phase two, where we started working on conceptual design, logo, and the general feel. So this all is phase two, keywords and modernization. And then phase two continues with concept development. Excuse me. This is the first iteration. Then we go to the second iteration. I'm sorry, the second logo symbol, and then the third. Okay, so this shows the three logo developments that we had from phase two. Now we worked that down to one final, and this student has selected the first one. But then we move on to phase three, which is design development, and that's where all the placement images come in. All right, and as you notice in this stage right here is final presentation. So everything is put together in a story, which keeps on going through the design development stage, then ends with a conclusion and citations, and then finally a closing cover. Okay, so what do we have here? We have your front cover. Then you go straight to color palette without describing really what are we doing in the project. Then you go to logo design concepts. You're showing two different logos here, but you haven't really described anything about the logo, where your inspiration comes from, how does this relate to your research. Then we move on and you say you've got a ticket, but you're using a logo here that's not shown in either of your logo design concepts. Okay, then we move to some placement images, but you're showing three different items, all with different logos. So there's no consistency here. So the viewer is looking at this going, well, I'm not real sure exactly what we're saying here because there's no consistency to the presentation. So in other words, you haven't selected a final logo, you haven't developed that logo, and you really haven't placed that logo in consistently in any areas. I think that as far as the presentation goes, the green background I think is really dragging the presentation down. Plus this big kind of shaped thing over here on every page, it's just really drawing too much attention to that side of the page. It's creating a significant imbalance to the page itself because this is so heavy here. Okay, so and then you have just these blank pages. So there's no citations, there's no story here at all. The only text you have is describing a color palette, and then it just stops. So again, I'd love you to take a look at this and just go through and see exactly how this is developed based on the four phases of the project from the class overview and the assignment overviews. Okay, so again, I don't want to sound discouraging, but we're really, really far behind here, Emily. So if you want to contact me, I've got some ideas how we can move forward with this, but time is very, very, very much of the essence here. So I think it's really important that we get some additional work submitted. And like I said to other students, I've been saying this all session long. I'm here. I'm here to help, and that's my promise to you. So if you submit work, if you ask me questions, if you ask me my recommendations for things, I will definitely take the time to even make some recordings and help you out. So I would take advantage of that, because right now, as this presentation stands, it's just not adhering to the project objectives. Okay, so again, I don't want to sound discouraging, but I just do want to sound realistic. Okay, any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Thank you.